What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt Taville with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Andy Ruiz Jr. Andy Ruiz has lost 20 pounds training with Team Canelo. Andy Ruiz says that he's lost 20 pounds recently in training with Canelo for his next fight. The former IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight champion Ruiz has been out of the ring for 12 months. Since losing to Anthony Joshua in their rematch in Saudi Arabia last year. Ruiz, now 33-2 and 22 KOs, is hoping that Canelo's trainer, Eddie Reynoso, can help motivate him to recapture his loss and his heavyweight titles. Some boxing fans believe the new training situation for Ruiz is doomed for failure. Ruiz isn't going to be able to turn Ruiz Jr. into the heavyweight division's version of Canelo. A fighter like Canelo would do well with any trainer. He's just a special person. There's a lot riding on Ruiz's next performance to show whether he's made the right decision to part ways with previous trainer Manny Robles in favor of Reynoso. Ruiz, 31, has a lot of belief that Reynoso's ability to take his career to the next level, and unfortunately that may not happen. Reynoso is a good trainer, as Ruiz's previous trainer Abel Sanchez and Robles and Freddie Roach. I had to add that in there. But that doesn't mean that Reynoso is going to get more out of Ruiz than those guys did. If Ruiz eventually loses once he steps up against elite heavyweights, he will have to deal with the reality that he's just not good enough. For now, the weight loss for Andy Ruiz is good news. It's unclear if Ruiz is still trying to take off the weight that he packed on a year ago, if he packed on more weight after having lost a ton. So, this editor or journalist, Albert Crane, this is his interpretation of Andy Ruiz. And what do I say about Albert? Okay, this was from Boxing News 24/7 for the source, guys. I have to agree with him. Now, the weight loss at hand. Okay, let's talk about that at first. It looks good. And when I say it looks good, it actually looks good. Now, I know Andy Ruiz has tricked us in the past and had us thinking like, I'm training so hard and I'm ready for Anthony Joshua. He can't really fight. He's not a good boxer. And I'm going to be thinner and faster than I did in the first fight. And it's going to be that much easier. Right? And we seen totally the opposite. Okay? So that was Little Boy Cried Wolf, because he was telling us that I'm training, I'm so in shape, I look good, and then all these Photoshop pictures of Andy Ruiz was emerging, and he had everybody in line and on board with saying the same BS story that he had lost all this weight and he was ready to not only beat Joshua again, to dominate him easier than he did the first fight. You guys remember that, okay? And he gained 20 pounds. Now, there's actual proof. That's why I said it looks like you guys see on the thumbnail. He's lost this weight. He looks like he's trying, his body is formating into a six-pack. I see a muscle. I see these two muscles right here. I see them. I see them with my own eyes. Because he raised his shirt up in his second video, because he has a YouTube channel. Check it out. Andy Ruiz's YouTube channel, and this is the second episode, and it shows him grinding, it shows him sweating, it shows him pushing, it shows he seems driven, okay? And this is one of those things that he admits that he's never done before in his career, okay? Now, it makes me wonder, though. It does make me wonder, what was Andy Ruiz doing all this time? I know he was the chubby boxer or whatever, but I mean, he never had a strength and conditioning coach. He admitted it. I've never had a strength and conditioning coach. Shit's hard. I've never done this before. I'm thinking to myself, like, what was he doing? What was he doing all this time? And it goes back to, you start examining the history and the career of Andy Ruiz. And then Bob Arum wasn't getting him any fights after his split decision loss to Joseph Parker, and he had to make some sacrifices and some adjustments to his career to get over there with Uncle Al, right? But then you have to question, why didn't Bob give him any fights? And it just goes to show you that the things just like this, you never had a strength and conditioning coach being a fat kid. That's probably the first thing you would do as a guy that's obese, that suffers from obesity. Let's face it, that's what he suffers from. There's a lot of obese people in this world. It's a disease, okay? Just because I was born this way? No, well, you were born with a disease. A lot of people have diseases and born into diseases. Unfortunately, people pass shit on. Look at his daddy. His daddy's no skinny guy. He's no delgado, right? So these are the things that he had to challenge himself, and he's just now doing in 2020 through 2021. So back to Mr. Albert Crane's assessment of Andy Ruiz. Him getting with Eddie Reynoso won't make him any better. Now, will it motivate him? That's the key. Because I think Andy Ruiz is already a good fighter, but I think his thing is it goes along with that obesity. And obesity sometimes comes slothfulness. Okay, and I think that's the deal. And I know a lot of people like that. They're just slothful. They don't really want to motivate themselves to do shit. They just don't. It's something within them. And if it's nothing motivating them to come forth and do the type of work and the job to keep them where they need to be, that's an innate thing. It's not going to be someone or something that helps them. Unfortunately, a lot of cases. Now the good thing is he's around Ryan Garcia, Canelo, and Frank Sanchez, and all those cats that they're automatically motivated and driven to do something. This looks good what Andy Ruiz was doing, okay? And the big question is, since he lied last year about what type of shape he was in, it was rumored that Andy Ruiz himself was training and was losing weight, and then they said he didn't feel right while he lost that weight because he wasn't used to the type of weight loss that they put him through. And for that reason, they let him put the pounds back on. But they say, I guess, with the party and the distractions and, the success of winning the titles and being the unified world championship, it was just too much for him to bear. Right? So he put on too much weight. And then that's supposed to be what they say is that, right? Then he came in damn near 300 pounds, 283 pounds. Damn. So, that, and then you got to look at someone that's 6'6". I don't think he's 6'2", right? I never met the guy, but I'm 6'2", and I think I tower over him. You know what I mean? He might look me eye to eye, but it might be right here, not here. You know what I'm saying? So you looking at someone with a 6 foot frame that's damn near 300 pounds. Now, but back to the physicality of the new physique of Andy Ruiz. It does look good. You can definitely see a difference, but he still has the back fat. He still has the long fat back. He still has the muffin top, but the muffin top is getting smaller. It's getting smaller. You can see that waist now, as opposed to the muffin top over the waist, and you really couldn't see that. But he has a good sturdy leg foundation, so I believe he has strong legs, because shit, he has to hold the weight, right? So hopefully it will motivate him. Hopefully that is. So this tells you something about Team Ruiz. There's a lot of pressure on him, because not only he has to show the new trainers, he has to prove the old trainers wrong, because what Manny Robles said was absolutely right. It's going to only be up to him. There may not be, and I want you guys to listen to me, okay? There may not be another another point in time where Andy Ruiz is that driven like he was when he beat Anthony Joshua the first time, unfortunately. It may not be. I hope there is. But it may not be, because he's not broken. He's not He's not homeless. He doesn't have to worry about this type of shit. And then, see, and a lot of people, if they know they don't have to do certain things, they just won't. That's the reality of it. Cut and dry. So it may not be. So hanging around Canelo and all those guys, it may motivate him in a whole different way. And when I mean motivate, it might look at it like I'm arrived. You know, these guys, they have money. I have a little money too, I thank God. So I don't really need to work hard. I think, what? No, that's not how you do it. You know? But hopefully it motivates him in a way that he sees, Canelo's victory, and that should motivate him to get his ass back into the gym. He's seen Frank Sanchez knock his opponent out of the ring. That may get him back in the gym. If Ryan Garcia knocks out and beats Luke Campbell, that may motivate him to get back in the gym. So those things hopefully motivates him. You know what I mean? And now there is a positive saying about this. If you hang around 10 rich people, you may be the 11th. Okay? So if we apply that to Andy Ruiz, he may be on to something. But he has a lot to prove to present coaches and former coaches. But anyway, that's my counterpunch on Andy Ruiz's 20-pound loss to get him prepared for future fights. You guys tell me what you think of Andy Ruiz's drastic weight loss. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. And Merry Christmas Eve to everyone. Peace.